you have made your ballot public, and
Always.
let's show our viewers the men that you voted for this year's class,
Sure.
and all the guys who went in. You gave your support to them, in addition to Bonds and Clemens. I thought it was interesting in here, as far as Mike Mussina, for example. Here's a guy who I thought maybe because of the steroid era, and if you were going to keep some of these guys out and keep them, if people were going to block votes for them, that a guy like Mussina might have an easier path to get in.
I
now,
agree.
I'm kind of fearful that maybe he doesn't get in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really tough for guys like Mussina, Kurt Schilling. Obviously, he had other issues this year, but guys like that, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough for pitchers because pitchers don't have the 300 win thing anymore. You can't win 300 games, really. I mean, you can, but it's incredibly hard to do. So people don't have the win totals they used to have. It's a much tougher, he won 270 games, Mike Mussina did. If he wins 300, he's already in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And he retired pretty much at the top of his game, so he could have gotten to 300. Chose, hey, I want to be with my family. I don't want to play anymore. And it's probably going to, I think it's going to be very, very tough. The next two ballots are going to be stuffed with great players.
Right.
It's going to be tough for those guys.
Now, you voted for Manny Ramirez, as did a number of your fellow baseball writers. Here's a guy who has failed multiple drug tests. So clearly that didn't matter as far as your support for him.
It mattered, but it didn't disqualify him. Right. The way I view it is, it's part of the picture. It's part of the thing that you think about. It certainly hurts his case, in my view, but look, I think he was the third best hitter, the second best hitter on this ballot. I think he's a better hitter than Jeff Bagwell. So you look at how great a player he was.
How do you look at that in terms of, how do you know? I mean, we don't know how much he was helped by that, but clearly we know in his case, as others who either failed drug tests or admitted to taking PEDs, then they did have assistance. I don't know. I mean, well, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do you determine whether to put him in and not put him in?
It's a very, very difficult thing, and it's something I've written about, many, many times. To me, baseball's rules were so unclear, and there was no testing. The game was just a different game. And obviously, Manny Ramirez failed the drug test after the rules changed, but you look at the bulk of his career, he was really at the end of his career just trying to hang on at that point. You look at the bulk of his career, I don't doubt that he used PEDs, but I also don't doubt that a lot of players did. It was sort of a part of the game, and I think you judge it based on the time he was in.
Was that something that you guys, as baseball writers, is that something that you guys talk about? And because we saw, I mean, it's been a huge swing of support for guys who are directly connected to PEDs from last year to this year.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, it's certainly something we talk about just when we're, in a ball game or whatever. Everybody talks about the Hall of Fame. But I don't think there was any concerted change. I think everything just sort of gradually built to where we are now. And I think people getting in who were widely suspected of using PEDs changes the whole dynamic. I think managers from that time going in changes the dynamic. Everybody thinks about it a little bit more. And you see where the direction is going. Not everybody's happy about that, and I understand that. I mean, there are people who are very angry that these players are getting in. But this is the way the direction's going.
Right. I don't know if we can see Bonds and Clemens get in next year, but we've seen the uptick in their support.